This billionaire man is already in his 80s. Once I marry him, I don't need to work. It's only a matter of few years before he passes away, and I will inherit all his wealth, making me a billionaire. Maya said to herself, grinning, as she lay on her couch lazily scrolling through her phone. Maya grew up believing in a baby girl lifestyle. She believed a woman should never work but be taken care of by a man. Maya was the talk of the town because of her stunning beauty. Her glowing caramel skin, long wavy black hair, and captivating smile drew attention wherever she went, but behind her charm lay a burning desire for wealth. Maya believed that the fastest way to live her dream life was to marry a wealthy man or date rich men who could fund her extravagant lifestyle. Maya had no interest in learning a skill or working for herself. Why should I waste my time when a man's money can do all the work for me? She would boast to her younger sister, Naomi. Naomi, unlike Maya, was hardworking and ambitious. She had just finished her training as an interior designer and often tried to talk sense into her older sister. One evening, while they sat on the front porch of their family's modest home, Naomi turned to Maya. "Maya, you can't keep living like this. Depending on men isn't a plan. You need to find something to do with your life," she said firmly. Maya smirked and flicked her long braids over her shoulder. "You worry too much. Why should I stress myself when there are rich men willing to take care of me? All I have to do is look good and enjoy life." "That's not how life works," Naomi said, her voice rising slightly. "What happens when those men stop giving you money? What happens when you're no longer the young, attractive girl they're chasing after? What will you do then?" Maya laughed dismissively. "By the time that happens, I'll already be settled with a billionaire husband, so relax, Naomi, you worry too much." Naomi sighed, realizing her sister wasn't ready to listen. "I just hope you won't regret these choices one day," she muttered before walking inside. Maya's best friend, Brielle, arrived later that evening in her shiny red car. Brielle was Maya's partner in crime and her biggest enabler. The two of them shared the same mindset. Life was meant to be enjoyed, and men were meant to fund that enjoyment. "Girl, get dressed, we're hitting the club tonight," Brielle said excitedly as she stepped out of her car. Maya's face lit up. "Who are we meeting tonight?" "There's this new guy I met last week. He's loaded, but don't worry. If he's not my type, I'll pass him to you," Brielle said with a wink. Maya laughed and gave her friend a high five. "That's why you're my bestie, always looking out for me." An hour later, the two friends were dressed in their finest outfits, ready to turn heads at the club. The moment they walked in, all eyes were on them. Maya loved the attention. She felt like a queen among commoners. Brielle pointed out a man sitting in the VIP section. "That's him. His name is Logan. Owns several businesses in Atlanta. He's been buying me gifts all week." "Let's go say hi," Maya said eagerly. The two of them made their way to the VIP section where Logan and his friends were seated. Logan's eyes lit up when he saw Brielle, but his gaze quickly shifted to Maya. "Who's your friend?" he asked, flashing a charming smile. "This is Maya," Brielle said, introducing her. Logan extended his hand. "Pleasure to meet you, Maya. You're as beautiful as the morning sun." Maya blushed. "Thank you, Logan. I've heard a lot about you." The night was filled with laughter, drinks, and promises. Logan, impressed by Maya's beauty and confidence, spent lavishly on both her and Brielle. By the end of the night, Maya was convinced she had found her next target. The next morning, Naomi confronted Maya. "You came home so late last night. Don't you think you're overdoing this lifestyle?" Maya rolled her eyes. "Naomi, don't start. I had fun, and that's all that matters." "But for how long, Maya? You're almost 30 and you don't have anything to show for yourself except designer bags and shoes bought with other people's money," Naomi said, her voice full of frustration. "Don't be jealous because I'm living the good life," Maya snapped. "Jealous?" Naomi scoffed. "I just don't want you to wake up one day and realize you've wasted your life chasing after meaningless things." "I'm not wasting my life. I'm enjoying it," Maya said firmly. Brielle called later that day. "Guess what? Logan wants us to join him on a trip to Dubai next weekend." Maya's eyes widened in excitement. "Dubai? Oh my God, Brielle, you're the best. Pack your bags, babe. We're gonna live like queens," Brielle said. Maya hung up and began planning for the trip, ignoring Naomi's disapproving glances. She was too blinded by her dreams of wealth and luxury to see the risks she was taking. But life has a way of teaching harsh lessons, and Maya's carefree days were numbered. One Friday night, Maya and Brielle decided to go out to a new exclusive lounge in the city. Word had it that the place was where the wealthiest men gathered, and for Maya and Brielle, that was all the motivation they needed. Dressed in their finest outfits, with sparkling heels and matching designer handbags, they walked into the lounge, confident and ready to make an impression. The lounge exuded wealth. From the crystal chandeliers to the velvet seats, everything screamed luxury. Brielle whispered to Maya, "This is it, babe. Tonight we're bagging someone loaded." Maya smiled slightly. "As long as they've got money, I'm all in." As they settled into their seats, sipping on expensive cocktails, a group of older men entered the lounge. They looked out of place among the younger crowd, but the tailored suits and gold watches on their wrists hinted at their wealth. Brielle nudged Maya and nodded toward the men. "Look at that. That's old money right there." Maya laughed. "Old is the word. They must be in their 60s, at least. Not really our type, is it? Who cares about type when there's money involved?" Brielle replied with a wink. Moments later, one of the older men, a short, bald man with a cane and a striking gold wristwatch, walked over to their table. He had a friendly smile but looked far older than anyone they'd ever entertained before. He seemed to be in his 80s, and his slow, deliberate movements revealed his frailty. "Good evening, beautiful ladies," the man said in a deep, raspy voice. His eyes lingered on Brielle. "My name is Mr. Whitman. May I join you?" Brielle gave him a polite smile but avoided eye contact. "Oh sure, why not?" she said hesitantly. Mr. Whitman slowly pulled out a chair and sat down. "You have a lovely smile," he said to Brielle. "I couldn't help but notice you from across the room." Brielle smiled awkwardly, while Maya hid her amusement behind her cocktail glass. After a few minutes of polite conversation, it became clear that Mr. Whitman was interested in Brielle. "Oh, what do you do, Mr. Whitman?" Brielle asked, trying to keep the conversation light. "I'm retired now, but I spent decades in the oil and gas business," he replied. "I've been fortunate to live a very comfortable life, but enough about me. Tell me about yourself." Brielle shifted uncomfortably. She wasn't interested in Mr. Whitman, and Maya could tell. Brielle shot Maya a quick glance, silently pleading for her to intervene. Maya leaned forward with a bright smile. "Mr. Whitman, you seem like such a wonderful man. Brielle is a little shy, but I know she appreciates your compliments." Brielle's eyes widened, but before she could protest, Maya added, "Why don't we exchange numbers? You seem like someone who could show us how to live the good life." Mr. Whitman chuckled. "I like your energy, young lady." He pulled out an old-fashioned phone and handed it to Maya. Maya quickly typed in Brielle's number and handed the phone back to him. Brielle stared at Maya in disbelief but said nothing. Once Mr. Whitman left to rejoin his friends, Brielle turned to Maya. "What was that? Why would you give him my number?" Brielle hissed. Maya rolled her eyes. "Relax, Brielle. This is our jackpot. Don't you see? A man like that will shower you with money and gifts, and he's so old, he probably won't ask for much in return." Brielle frowned. "But he's in his 80s, Maya. That's way out of my comfort zone." "That's the point," Maya exclaimed. "He's too old to be demanding or clingy. He'll probably just want some company and someone to talk to. Meanwhile, you'll be swimming in cash." Brielle hesitated, still unsure. "I don't know, Maya. This feels weird." "Come on, Brielle," Maya urged. "We've dated married men and guys twice our age before. What's the difference? This is a golden opportunity. Don't let it slip away." Brielle sighed. "Fine, I'll give it a try, but if it gets too weird, I'm out." "Trust me, babe. You won't regret this," Maya said with a sly grin. The next day, Mr. Whitman called Brielle, and Maya was right there to coach her through the conversation. "Be sweet, but not too eager," Maya whispered as Brielle picked up the call. "Hello, Brielle. This is Whitman. I hope I'm not disturbing you," his raspy voice came through the phone. "Oh, not at all, Mr. Whitman. It's nice to hear from you," Brielle replied, trying to sound cheerful. "I was wondering if you'd like to join me for dinner tomorrow evening," he said. Brielle looked at Maya, who nodded excitedly. "Sure, I'd love to," Brielle said reluctantly. "Wonderful. I'll send a car to pick you up. You'll love the restaurant," Mr. Whitman said before ending the call. Maya clapped her hands in excitement. "This is it, Brielle. You're about to hit the jackpot. The following evening, Brielle went on the dinner date with Mr. Whitman, while Maya waited eagerly for her to return and share the details. When Brielle finally came back, Maya bombarded her with questions. How was it? Did he spoil you? What did he say? Brielle sank into the couch and sighed. It was interesting. He's nice, but it's so weird, Maya. He talks like he's my grandfather. He even called me dear a few times. Maya laughed. That's perfect. Older men are always like that. So did he give you anything? Brielle pulled out a small box and opened it to reveal a gold bracelet. He gave me this. Maya's eyes widened. That's gorgeous. See, I told you this would work. Stick with him, Brielle. This is just the beginning. Despite her initial reservations, Brielle decided to keep seeing Mr. Whitman, encouraged by Maya's constant persuasion. Meanwhile, Maya couldn't help but feel a little jealous. She began plotting ways to insert herself into Mr. Whitman's life, hoping to benefit from his wealth as well. Little did they know their actions were leading them down a dangerous path, one that would teach them a lesson they would never forget. It had been 2 weeks since Brielle's first date with Mr. Whitman, but Brielle wasn't giving the situation much attention. Maya, on the other hand, couldn't get the man out of her mind. Every time she saw Brielle, her first question was about the wealthy, older man. So, have you and Mr. Whitman started talking properly yet? Maya asked one evening as they sat in Brielle's living room. Brielle shrugged, scrolling through her phone lazily. Not really. He calls every other day, but I'm just not into it. He's sweet, though, and really polite. Maya raised an eyebrow. Not into it? Brielle, this man is old, rich, and clearly interested in you. Do you know how rare that is? You can't let this opportunity pass. Brielle laughed. Honestly, Maya, I just don't feel comfortable with him. It's like talking to my grandfather. I've been dodging his invitations for dinner. Brielle, Maya said, feigning shock. This man is probably everything you've been looking for. What's his full name again? Brielle, distracted by a notification on her phone, casually replied, His full name is Whitman Oland. Maya froze for a moment. The name sounded eerily familiar, but she didn't let it show. Oh, okay, she said nonchalantly, leaning back in her chair. Later that evening, after she returned to her apartment, Maya's curiosity got the better of her. She pulled out her phone and typed Whitman Oland into the search bar. Her jaw dropped as countless articles and photos of the man flooded the screen. He wasn't just rich, he was a billionaire, a mogul in the oil and gas industry with properties all over the world. Maya stared at her phone in disbelief. This man is worth billions, she whispered to herself, her mind racing. Suddenly, Mr. Whitman's age didn't matter anymore to her. He was now the most attractive man she had ever known. Determined to take advantage of this revelation, Maya devised a plan. The next morning, she showed up at Brielle's house unannounced, carrying a box of pastries as a peace offering. Morning, babe, Maya said cheerfully. I brought breakfast. Thought we could hang out for a bit. Brielle smiled. Wow, you're in a good mood today. What's the occasion? No occasion. Just thought we could catch up. You're my bestie after all, Maya said sweetly. They spent the morning chatting and laughing, but Maya's real mission was to get Mr. Whitman's phone number. She watched closely as Brielle placed her phone on the coffee table and excused herself to use the bathroom. As soon as Brielle was out of sight, Maya grabbed the phone and quickly scrolled through the call log, finding Mr. Whitman's number. She memorized it in seconds and put the phone back in its original spot before Brielle returned. Later that day, Maya called Mr. Whitman. Her heart raced as the phone rang. When he picked up, his deep, raspy voice was filled with curiosity. Hello, who is this? He asked. Good afternoon, Mr. Whitman. This is Maya. Brielle's friend we met at the lounge the other night, she said, her voice dripping with charm. Maya, he said, sounding surprised. This is unexpected. To what do I owe the pleasure? I hope I'm not being too forward, but I've been thinking about you since the night we met, Maya said, forcing a shy laugh. I just felt like reaching out. Mr. Whitman chuckled. Well, this is a pleasant surprise. Brielle didn't mention you were interested in getting to know me. Brielle is not really my type, but there's something special about you, Mr. Whitman flattered. Mr. Whitman agreed to meet Maya for dinner the following evening. She showed up to the date wearing an elegant dress she had borrowed from Brielle's wardrobe. She was determined to impress him. At the restaurant, Mr. Whitman couldn't take his eyes off Maya. "You look stunning, my dear," he said, pulling out a chair for her. "Thank you, Mr. Whitman," Maya replied, flashing her most charming smile. Throughout the evening, Maya was all laughter and compliments, hanging on his every word. Mr. Whitman was clearly smitten, and by the end of the night, he had promised to see her again soon. Within weeks, Maya's life transformed. Mr. Whitman showered her with gifts, designer clothes, jewelry, and even a brand new car. He gave her large sums of money, which she used to flaunt her new status on social media. Maya was living the life she had always dreamed of. One evening, Brielle came to visit Maya, unaware of her friend's newfound fortune. When she saw the luxurious car parked in front of Maya's apartment, she was stunned. "Whose car is this?" Brielle asked as Maya opened the door. Maya smirked. "It's mine." "Yours? How, where did you get this?" Brielle asked, her eyes wide with disbelief. Maya shrugged. "Let's just say I've been hanging out with the right people." Brielle frowned. "What do you mean by that? Wait, is this Mr. Whitman's doing?" Maya's smile faltered for a moment, but she quickly recovered. "What if it is? You didn't want him, remember? So I stepped in, and now look at me, living my best life." Brielle's face turned red with anger. "You went behind my back and stole his number. How could you, Maya?" "I trusted you." "Relax, Brielle," Maya said dismissively. "It's not like you wanted him anyway. You said he wasn't your type. So why are you mad? I just took an opportunity that you were too blind to see." "That's not the point. You betrayed me," Brielle shouted. "Betrayed you over a man you didn't even want?" Maya shot back. "Look, Brielle, I'm not going to apologize for chasing my dreams. If you're upset, that's on you." Brielle stormed out of the apartment, slamming the door behind her. Maya shrugged and poured herself a glass of champagne. She didn't care about Brielle's feelings anymore. She was too busy enjoying her new life of luxury. But what Maya didn't realize was that her action was setting the stage for a chain of events that would eventually bring her world crashing down. Flaunting her newfound wealth at every opportunity, she posted pictures of her expensive dinners, luxurious car, and designer clothes on social media, leaving everyone wondering how she had managed to transform her life so quickly. However, there was one person she had been avoiding: Brielle. After stealing Mr. Whitman from her best friend, Maya no longer saw the need to keep Brielle around. She ignored Brielle's calls and texts, avoiding her at all costs. In Maya's mind, Brielle couldn't be trusted anymore. After all, she might try to take Mr. Whitman back if she discovered how wealthy he truly was. Meanwhile, Mr. Whitman was smitten with Maya, despite their massive age difference. He found her energy and charm irresistible. During one of their dates at an upscale restaurant, he surprised her with a life-changing proposal. "Maya," Mr. Whitman said, taking her hand across the table, "I've been thinking a lot about us, and I believe I found my happiness in you. You make me feel alive again." Maya's heart raced. She could see where the conversation was going. "Mr. Whitman," she said, her voice soft and full of fake emotion. He smiled warmly. "Please call me Whitman, or better yet, your husband-to-be. Maya, will you marry me?" For a moment, Maya froze, pretending to be overwhelmed with emotion. She glanced at the sparkling diamond ring he was holding out to her. It was enormous, easily worth millions. "Yes," Maya exclaimed, tears of joy streaming down her face. She stood up and hugged him tightly. "Yes, Whitman, I'll marry you." Mr. Whitman looked thrilled, but in Maya's mind, all she could think about was the fortune she would inherit once he passed away. "This is it," she thought to herself. "This is the life I've always dreamed of." She wasted no time in planning the wedding. She hired the most expensive wedding planner in the city, ordered a custom-made dress from an exclusive designer, and even booked a 5-star hotel for the reception. Everything had to be perfect, not because of love, but because of the image she wanted to portray. However, Maya's secret couldn't stay hidden for long. One afternoon, Brielle was out shopping when she overheard two women gossiping about Maya's engagement. "Have you heard? That girl Maya's marrying some billionaire," one woman said. "Really? I heard he's old enough to be her grandfather," the other woman replied, laughing. Brielle's ears perked up. She couldn't believe what she was hearing. Without thinking, she approached the women. "Excuse me, are you talking about Maya?" Brielle asked. "Yes," one of the women replied. "She's engaged to some oil tycoon." "What's his name again?" "Whitman Oland, I think." Brielle's blood boiled. She thanked the women and stormed out of the shop, clutching her bag tightly. She stole him from me, Brielle thought angrily, and she didn't even have the decency to tell me. A few days later, Brielle was shopping at a boutique when she spotted Maya browsing through wedding accessories. Brielle clenched her fists and marched over. "So this is why you've been avoiding me," Brielle said, her voice loud enough to turn heads. Maya froze, then turned around with a forced smile. "Brielle, hi. I didn't expect to see you here." "Don't hi me," Brielle snapped. "You've been hiding from me because you stole Whitman from me, didn't you?" Maya's smile faded. "Brielle, it's not what you think." "Ah, spare me the lies," Brielle interrupted. "You're unbelievable, Maya. You went behind my back, stole his number, and now you're planning to marry him. What kind of friend does that?" Maya rolled her eyes. "First of all, Brielle, you didn't even want him. You said he wasn't your type, remember? So why are you acting like I did something wrong? Doesn't give you the right to betray me." Brielle shouted, her voice echoing through the shop. "Maybe if you weren't so blind to opportunities, you'd be the one living this life instead of me," Maya shot back. "But no, you were too busy being ungrateful to see what was right in front of you." The argument escalated, and soon the two women were hurling insults at each other. "You're a snake, Maya," Brielle yelled. "All you care about is money. You'd sell your soul for a designer bag. And you're a jealous, bitter woman who doesn't know how to seize the moment," Maya retorted. "Maybe that's why you're still broke while I'm out here living the life." The commotion drew the attention of the shop attendants, who tried to intervene. "Ladies, please calm down," one of them said, stepping between the two. Brielle ignored the attendant and pointed a finger at Maya. "Mark my words, Maya, this won't end well for you. You think you've won, but you have no idea what you're getting yourself into." Maya smirked. "We'll see about that." With that, Brielle stormed out of the shop, leaving Maya to finish her shopping. Maya brushed off the encounter, convincing herself that Brielle was just bitter and jealous. But deep down, Brielle's words lingered in her mind, planting a seed of doubt. Was she really making the right decision? Or was she setting herself up for a disaster she couldn't see coming? Only time would tell. Maya couldn't believe her luck. She was now Mrs. Maya Oland, wife of one of the wealthiest men in the country. Her wedding had been a grand affair, the talk of the town for weeks. Everyone admired her transformation from a struggling young woman to the wife of a billionaire. Her first year of marriage was like a dream come true. Whitman doted on her, showering her with expensive jewelry, cars, and designer clothes. They traveled to exotic locations, Paris, Dubai, the Maldives. Every day felt like a fairy tale. "Maya, I booked us a private villa in Santorini for next month," Whitman announced one morning as they ate breakfast by their pool. Maya smiled and kissed him on the cheek. "You spoil me too much, Whitman." "Only the best for my queen," he said, beaming. Maya basked in her good fortune. This was the life she had always dreamed of. She barely thought about her past struggles or her broken friendship with Brielle. She was far too busy enjoying her luxurious new life. But behind the diamonds and first-class tickets, Maya struggled with a quiet emptiness. Sleep often evaded her at night. She'd lie awake staring at the ceiling, haunted by flashes of her old life and the fear that it could all slip away again. Sometimes, when she caught her reflection in the mirror, the perfect makeup, the silk robes, she barely recognized herself. It wasn't the woman she had become that scared her most. It was the woman she might still be underneath. Restless, hollow, and desperately clinging to a life she never truly belonged to. However, as the months passed, Maya began to notice cracks in the perfect picture. Whitman was much older than her usual type, and his health started showing signs of decline. He often complained of fatigue and occasional chest pain. "Maybe you should see a doctor," Maya suggested one evening after Whitman canceled their dinner plans because he felt unwell. "I'm fine, Maya," he insisted. "It's just age catching up with me. Nothing to worry about." Maya wasn't too concerned. In fact, a small part of her was secretly relieved. She had always known Whitman wouldn't live forever, and she had convinced herself that once he passed, all his wealth would be hers. Her life took another turn when she found out she was pregnant. Whitman was overjoyed, and he went all out to pamper her during the pregnancy. Our child will have everything he or she could ever want, Whitman said one evening as they decorated the nursery. Sure they will, Maya replied, imagining her child growing up in wealth and comfort. Their baby boy, Ethan, was born a healthy and beautiful child. Maya felt a new sense of purpose as a mother, but she couldn't help but notice that Whitman's health was deteriorating rapidly. On Whitman's 85th birthday, he threw a grand party, inviting business associates, friends, and family. Maya stood by his side, glowing in a custom-made gown as they cut the cake together. "You've made this old man very happy, Maya," Whitman said, holding her hand. "And you've made me the happiest woman alive," she replied, smiling sweetly. But later that night, Whitman fell gravely ill. He was rushed to the hospital where doctors informed Maya that his condition was critical. As Whitman lay on the hospital bed, Maya sat by his side, trying to hide her excitement. "This is it," she thought. "Everything is about to be mine." She held his hand and whispered, "You'll be fine, Whitman. You're strong." Whitman chuckled weakly. "I'm not afraid of dying, Maya. I've lived a full life. But there's something I need to tell you before it's too late." Maya's heart raced. "What is it?" Whitman's eyes filled with tears. "You've been a wonderful wife, but there's a truth about my wealth that I've kept from you. It's time you knew." Maya frowned, her excitement giving way to confusion. "What do you mean?" Whitman sighed deeply, struggling to find the words. "When I was 80, I was a poor, desperate man. I had lost everything. My business, my home, my dignity. I was ready to give up, but then I met a man who claimed he could help me turn my life around." Maya leaned in, her confusion growing. "What kind of help?" "He introduced me to a ritual," Whitman continued, his voice barely a whisper. "He promised me wealth beyond my wildest dreams, but there was a price to pay. The wealth would only last 5 years, and at the end of those 5 years, I would die. Not only that, but everything I acquired with the money would vanish." Maya stared at him in shock. "What are you saying, Whitman? Are you telling me that all of this, your money, your businesses, your properties, it's all going to disappear?" "Yes," Whitman said, tears streaming down his face. "The time is almost up, Maya. Once I'm gone, so is everything else." "No," Maya screamed, standing up. "This can't be true. You're lying." "I wish I were," Whitman said, his voice cracking. "But it's the truth. I wanted to leave you and Ethan with something, but I can't. I'm sorry, Maya." Maya's mind raced as she tried to process what she had just heard. The wealth she had built her dreams on was nothing but an illusion, a fleeting gift with an expiration date. "You mean to tell me that I married you, had your child, and gave up everything for nothing?" she shouted, her anger boiling over. "I never meant to hurt you," Whitman said, his voice barely audible. "I thought I could beat the odds, but the ritual was clear. The wealth isn't mine to keep." Maya stormed out of the hospital room, her mind spinning. She couldn't believe her life had come to this. She had sacrificed her friendships, her dignity, and her time for a man who had sold his soul for temporary riches. Over the next few days, Whitman's condition worsened. Maya stayed by his side, but her heart was filled with resentment. She couldn't look at him without feeling betrayed. On the 5th day after his birthday, Whitman passed away peacefully in his sleep. The moment Maya received the news of Whitman's passing, her body turned cold. Her hands trembled as she held the phone to her ear. Her breath quickened, panic setting in like a raging storm. This couldn't be happening. No, not yet. She had been waiting for his death. But not like this. Not with all his wealth about to disappear. Maya's mind raced. There had to be a way to stop this. The money couldn't just vanish into thin air. Not after all the luxury she had enjoyed. Not after all she had sacrificed. She quickly grabbed her phone and began dialing the numbers of herbalists she had met through her past connections. If Whitman's money came from rituals, surely there had to be a way to keep it from vanishing. "Please, Baba, you have to help me," she pleaded over the phone to one of the most powerful herbalists she knew. "The man is dead, but I need the wealth to remain. What can we do?" A deep sigh came from the other end. "Nothing can be done, my daughter. The deal was made, and the price must be paid." Maya's stomach clenched. She refused to accept it. She called another herbalist, and another. Each one told her the same thing. Nothing could be done. The money, the properties, the businesses, everything Whitman had gained through the ritual was bound to disappear. Still, Maya refused to give up. If the wealth was going to vanish, she would take as much as she could before it did. She hurriedly went to Whitman's properties, hoping to sell some before they could disappear. She contacted buyers, eager to close deals fast. But just when she thought she had secured some wealth for herself, she discovered that she had been scammed. The money never reached her accounts. The buyers had vanished. "No, no, no," she screamed, throwing her phone across the room. Her heart pounded with fear. But the worst was yet to come. Days later, one of Whitman's companies caught fire. The news spread quickly. His empire was burning to the ground. Maya watched in shock as the images flashed on the television screen. Flames consumed the massive headquarters of Whitman's most profitable business. The employees scrambled in panic. Fire trucks surrounded the building, and smoke covered the sky. "This is not happening," she whispered, gripping her chest. But it was. The ritual's consequences had begun. Everything was disappearing before her eyes, with no way to save the businesses. Maya turned to what she thought was her last hope, the jewelry Whitman had given her. Gold and diamond necklaces, bracelets, and earrings worth millions. If she could sell them, she would still have something left. She rushed home, her heart racing. But as soon as she arrived at the mansion, she knew something was wrong. Police officers were standing outside. Her breath caught in her throat. She stepped out of the car, her legs shaking. "Officer, what's going on?" she asked. One of the officers turned to her with a serious expression. "Mrs. Whitman, I'm afraid we have bad news. Your house was broken into last night. Everything of value has been stolen." Maya's knees gave way and she collapsed onto the ground. No, 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 no. Her jewelry, her last hope, gone. Tears streamed down her face. She was finished. Everything was gone. Everything. With no other option, Maya packed a small bag, took her son, and walked away from the mansion she once ruled. She had nowhere to go. No money, no home, no friends. Her only option, Brielle. As she arrived at Brielle's small apartment, she hesitated at the door. What if Brielle turned her away? What if she slammed the door in her face? Taking a deep breath, Maya knocked. When Brielle opened the door and saw her, she gasped. Her mouth fell open as she took in Maya's appearance. Her once glamorous hair was messy. Her expensive clothes were replaced with a simple gown, and her eyes were swollen from crying. For the first time in her life, Maya had nothing. Brielle's lips parted in shock. "Maya?" Maya collapsed to her knees, clutching Brielle's legs as tears streamed down her face. Her once proud and confident voice was now trembling with desperation. "Brielle, please, I have nowhere else to go," she sobbed, her grip tightening. "I know I've done terrible things. I know I hurt you. But please, just give me a second chance." Brielle folded her arms, staring down at her with a mixture of shock and coldness. The sight of Maya, the same Maya who once mocked her for living a simple life, who abandoned her for a life of wealth, now begging at her feet, was almost unbelievable. "You brought this upon yourself," Brielle said flatly, stepping back and forcing Maya's hands to slip from her legs. "I warned you, didn't I? I told you that your greed would destroy you, but you refused to listen. Now look at you." Maya sniffled, wiping her tears with the back of her hand. "Brielle, I know I was blind. I know I was selfish. I thought I had it all figured out, but I was wrong. Please, I just need a place to stay. Just for a while." Brielle scoffed. "And why should I help you? Where was your sympathy when you abandoned me for money? When you lied to me and stole that man's number behind my back? You didn't care about me then, Maya. So why should I care now?" Maya sobbed harder, her shoulders shaking. "I have a child, Brielle. I can't let Ethan suffer because of my mistakes. He's innocent in all of this." She turned to look at her son, who was clinging to her dress, his small, confused eyes darting between the two women. Brielle's gaze softened slightly as she looked at Ethan. The little boy had done nothing wrong. He was just a child. But still, the pain Maya had caused her was too fresh, too deep. Maya grabbed her hands desperately. "I know, Brielle, I know, and I'll do anything to make it right. Just give me a chance to prove it to you. I'll change, I promise. Please don't turn me away." Brielle let out a deep sigh. Her heart was at war with itself. She wanted to walk away, to leave Maya to face the consequences of her choices alone. But then she looked at Ethan again. The child was clutching his mother's dress, his tiny face full of innocence and confusion. With another heavy sigh, Brielle finally spoke. Maya's eyes widened in surprise. "What? I said fine, Brielle repeated, her voice slightly irritated. But don't think this means I've forgiven you. I'm only doing this because of Ethan. He's just a child. He shouldn't have to suffer for your mistakes. Maya broke down again, this time in gratitude. Thank you, Brielle. Thank you so much. Brielle stepped aside and gestured toward the small apartment. Come in, but don't get too comfortable. This isn't your palace, Maya. If you stay here, you follow my rules. Maya nodded quickly. Of course, Brielle. I'll do anything. Thank you. She gathered Ethan in her arms and stepped into the apartment, her heart heavy with both relief and shame. She had lost everything, but at least she had one last chance, and she wasn't going to waste it. As Maya settled into Brielle's small apartment, she noticed how different her friend had become. There were no flashy wigs, no tight dresses, no loud music playing in the background. Instead, Brielle sat at a small desk, her laptop open, wearing a simple t-shirt and joggers. Maya watched in confusion. Brielle, what's going on? Where's the old you? Brielle sighed, shutting her laptop. Maya, I've changed. I'm no longer into clubbing, runs, or chasing rich men. I decided to take my life seriously. Maya frowned. What do you mean? Brielle leaned back in her chair. I realized that life isn't about fast money. I was tired of living recklessly, tired of depending on men who only saw me as an object. So I took control of my future. I learned tech skills, and now I work as a remote customer service representative. Maya blinked in surprise. You? Brielle chuckled. Yes, me. And guess what? It pays well. I work from home, I make good money, and I don't have to worry about my life falling apart overnight. She looked at Maya seriously. Maya, you need to leave your past life behind. You've seen where it led you. It's time to start over. Maya lowered her gaze, feeling ashamed. Could she really change? Could she let go of the only life she had ever known? Brielle placed a hand on her shoulder. I'll help you, Maya, but you have to be willing to change. Maya swallowed hard, nodding slowly. Maybe, just maybe, this was her second chance. With Brielle's support, Maya began to rebuild her life. She took on odd jobs, learned new skills, and slowly started piecing herself back together. The road was long and difficult, but she learned valuable lessons about humility, hard work, and the true meaning of wealth. Maya was slowly adjusting to her new life. Living with Brielle had brought a sense of peace and stability she hadn't known in a long time. Brielle, now a remote customer service representative, worked from the comfort of their modest apartment, while Maya had managed to get a job at a mall as a cashier. It wasn't glamorous, but it was something. Every morning, Maya would wake up early, bathe and dress her son Ethan, and drop him off at daycare before heading to the mall. In the evening, she'd pick him up and head home, where Brielle would usually be typing away on her laptop or preparing dinner. It was a simple life, not the one she had dreamed of, but it was peaceful. She even found herself smiling more these days. One Sunday afternoon, after a long week of work, Maya sat on the couch with a bowl of ice cream beside her. Ethan had just fallen asleep, and she wanted to steal a few minutes of rest before helping Brielle with dinner. She unlocked her phone and opened Instagram. As she scrolled, her eyes sparkled at the glossy pictures of big girls flaunting designer clothes, luxury vacations, private jets, and expensive meals in high-end restaurants. Wow. See life? She whispered to herself, double-tapping one picture of a girl taking mirror selfies in Dubai. Brielle, who had just shut her laptop after a virtual customer call, glanced up. What are you looking at? These girls, Brielle. See how they're enjoying, Maya said, tilting her screen for Brielle to see. See how they go to Maldives, Bali, London, back to back. Look at this one. She's carrying the latest bag. Brielle, we used to live like this, remember? Brielle wiped her palms on her shorts and looked at Maya carefully. Maya, you shouldn't be watching things like that. It will corrupt your mindset again. But what's wrong in admiring beautiful things? Maya replied defensively. I'm not saying I want to go back to the old me. I'm just saying, these girls are really enjoying. Brielle took a deep breath. Focus on your new life, Maya. You're working hard. You have Ethan to care for. Build something that will last for him. That lifestyle you're admiring doesn't come free, and you know it. Maya stayed quiet, her eyes still glued to her phone. She nodded slowly, but deep down, a part of her stirred. The part that craved soft life, the expensive perfumes, the snapping of fingers to call chauffeurs, and the clinking of wine glasses in five-star restaurants. The next day was a Monday. Maya went about her usual routine. She dropped Ethan off at daycare and headed to the mall. She wore her uniform, tied her hair back neatly, and stood behind the counter smiling at customers as they paid for their groceries and clothes. Around 2 p.m., a woman approached her counter to pay for some handbags. As Maya scanned the items, the woman looked up from her phone and froze. Her eyes widened, and then a smirk curled on her lips. "Wait, Maya? Maya Oland?" the woman asked loudly. Maya's heart dropped. She knew that voice. Her fingers trembled slightly, but she tried to act normal. "No, I think you're mistaking me for someone else," she said, trying not to make eye contact. The woman laughed. "Huh, no deny. Are you not the Maya that married that billionaire old man, Mr. Whitman? The one that used to drive Porsche? The one that insulted me in that boutique at Lecky when I asked you for help?" Several heads turned toward them. Maya felt exposed. "See life," the woman continued, clapping dramatically. "So this is where you've ended up, from mansion to mall counter. Life is funny. Oh." Maya quickly pressed a few buttons and completed the transaction. "Your total is $35,800, she said in a shaky voice. The woman laughed even louder. "Please keep the change, cashier madam," she said, dropping a bunch of Naira notes on the counter with a sarcastic wink. "Use it to buy yourself small dignity." Maya couldn't take it anymore. As soon as the woman left, she rushed to the restroom and locked herself in one of the stalls. She leaned against the door and burst into tears. Her chest ached, not just from embarrassment, but from a bitter sense of reality. She remembered the same mall where she once came to shop for millions without looking at price tags. Now she stood behind the counter in a cheap uniform, getting mocked by women she once looked down on. After crying for a while, she wiped her tears and stared at her reflection in the small mirror above the sink. "No, I can't do this anymore," she whispered. "I've tried being good. I've tried being humble. But maybe I just fell into the wrong hands before. This time, I'll be smarter, careful, sharp." That evening, she returned home as usual, picked up Ethan from daycare, and prepared dinner with Brielle. But something had changed in her. She had made a decision, and she was going to keep it to herself. The next day, Maya dressed up like always and took Ethan to daycare, but instead of heading to the mall, she boarded a bus straight to a popular club on the island. She arrived at the club entrance around 11 a.m. It wasn't fully open yet, but some VIP rooms were accessible for special guests. Maya knew the game. She walked up to the bouncer confidently and smiled. "Tell Chuka I'm here," she said. The bouncer looked her up and down, nodded, and let her in. From that day on, Maya began her double life again. Every morning after dropping her son off, she would dress in flashy clothes, wear makeup, and head to lounges, clubs, and hotel lobbies where she believed wealthy men hung out during the day. She would sit in the VIP sections, pretending to sip expensive cocktails while scanning the room for potential catches. She made herself available, laughing loudly, smiling seductively, and sometimes pretending to be on important calls. But the first week was a complete failure. Most of the men who approached her were broke or just wanted company without giving anything in return. Some were even rude. She came home tired and discouraged, pretending she had just come back from work. Brielle never suspected anything yet, but Maya wasn't ready to give up. Deep in her heart, she believed that her breakthrough was around the corner. All she needed was one rich man, just one, and her life would change again. She would do it right this time. No emotional attachment, no marriage, just benefits. But fate, as always, had its own plans. It was a quiet Wednesday afternoon. The VIP section of the club was half empty, the usual slow hours before the evening crowd arrived. Maya sat by the tinted glass window with a wine glass in her hand, pretending to sip slowly while scrolling through her phone. Her legs were crossed elegantly. Her makeup was flawless, and she wore a fitted dress that hugged her curves in all the right places. She had been there for hours, waiting and hoping. Then it happened. A tall, rich-looking man in his late 30s walked in. His presence was commanding. He wore a tailored suit, dark sunglasses, and a designer wristwatch that glittered even in the dim lighting. He looked around briefly before his eyes met hers. A small, confident smile played on his lips as he walked toward her. "May I join you?" he asked. And Maya smiled, her heart skipping. Of course. He sat down and waved a waiter over. Order whatever you want, he told her. She smiled again and picked her favorite cocktail. The man ordered whiskey for himself. They talked for a while. He introduced himself as Raymond. His accent hinted he had spent time abroad. They talked about life, travels, fashion, and a bit of business. He didn't ask too many personal questions, and that suited Maya perfectly. I like you, Maya, he said suddenly, sipping from his glass. You're different. Interesting. I'd love to spend more time with you. Maya smiled again, butterflies dancing in her stomach. I'd like that too, she said. Raymond offered to take her to his hotel, and she didn't hesitate. On their way to the car, she quickly texted Brielle. Hey sis, please help me pick Ethan at daycare today. I'll be coming home late. Thanks. As Raymond drove, soft music played in the background. Maya stared out the window smiling. This was what she had been waiting for. Finally, a man with money, taste, and manners. She silently thanked the heavens. They arrived at a high-end hotel. The staff greeted Raymond with respect and escorted them to a luxurious suite on the top floor. Inside, the room was like something out of a movie. Plush furniture, a city view from the balcony, and a mini bar stocked with the finest liquor. Raymond ordered room service, grilled seafood, jollof rice with peppered chicken, small chops, and a chilled bottle of red wine. They ate, talked more, and laughed like old friends. He treated her like a queen. No rush, no pressure, just comfort and care. That night, they were intimate, and the next morning, Raymond handed her an envelope filled with crisp Naira notes. Take this, baby. Get something nice for yourself. My driver will drop you off. Maya was stunned. She had never been treated so generously without even asking. Thank you, she whispered, trying not to look too excited. As the driver dropped her off near the apartment, she counted the money again. It was more than what she would have earned in 6 months at the mall. When she walked into the house, Brielle was already waiting, her arms crossed and her expression stern. Where have you been? She asked. I told you I wouldn't come home yesterday, Maya replied casually, tossing her bag on the couch. Yes, but you didn't say anything about staying overnight. And what's this smell? Expensive perfume and hotel shampoo. Maya smiled. I met someone. Brielle raised a brow. Someone? Yes, Brielle, a boyfriend. It's not runs. If you have feelings for the person, Maya said defensively. Brielle folded her arms. Who is he? What does he do? I don't know exactly, Maya replied, walking toward the kitchen, but he's very rich and he's good to me. Brielle followed her. That's not enough. You need to be careful, Maya. Rich doesn't mean good. You've made mistakes before. Don't rush into another one. Maya poured herself a glass of juice and leaned on the counter. Brielle, I'm not stupid. I know what I'm doing this time. Raymond is different. He didn't force me to do anything. He treated me with respect. He gave me money, yes, but not like the old ones. This one, he's calm, mature. Brielle sighed. Still, be careful. You have Ethan now. Your life is not just yours anymore. I know, Maya said softly. That's why I want to give him the best. Brielle didn't argue further. She just turned and went back to her laptop. But a deep concern settled in her heart. Over the next few weeks, Maya's routine changed drastically. She no longer bothered going to fake her job at the mall. Every morning, after dropping Ethan off, she would head off to meet Raymond, or so she said. Sometimes he would send a car to pick her up. Other times, she would take a cab to wherever he was. She began spending 2 or 3 days away from home at a stretch. Each time she returned, she brought expensive gifts, perfumes, clothes, jewelry, and always a lot of cash. The fridge was constantly stocked. Brielle never had to ask for money, and even Ethan's daycare fees were paid for 6 months in advance. Maya was glowing. Her skin was fresher, her wardrobe richer, and her laughter louder. Brielle watched quietly. One Saturday, Maya returned home wearing gold earrings and a new designer handbag. She dropped a box of pizza on the table and handed Brielle an envelope. Here, for the house. You've been amazing to me. Brielle took it reluctantly. Where have you been since Wednesday? Raymond? He took me to a beach resort, Maya replied, opening her phone to show pictures of her sipping coconut drink by the water. Brielle nodded slowly. You really like him, don't you? Maya smiled. I do. I think this is it, Brielle. Finally, maybe God has remembered me. Brielle said nothing. She just looked at her friend, beautiful, bold, and dangerously hopeful. She knew too well that not all that glittered was gold, and deep inside she feared that Maya was walking straight into another storm. Only this time it might not be so easy to escape. Maya's relationship with Raymond was like a dream come true. Lavish dinners, exotic perfumes, crisp Naira bundles, surprise getaways, and designer clothes became her new normal. He showered her with affection and never let her lift a finger. Each time she looked at her reflection in the mirror, she smiled to herself, proud that she had risen again. But beneath the surface, Brielle's warnings echoed in her mind like distant thunder. Each time she saw the uncertainty in Brielle's eyes, she brushed it off. "Raymond is different," she would tell herself. "This one is my destiny helper." One afternoon, as they lounged in the hotel suite, Raymond turned to her with a serious expression. "Baby, I want to introduce you to something big," he said, lighting a cigar. Maya looked up, curious. "What is it?" "A business that will make you very rich," he said confidently. "Something big but very secret. Only a few trusted people are involved." Maya's heart raced with excitement. "What kind of business?" she asked, leaning in. Raymond smiled. "I can't tell you all the details now, but trust me, you'll thank me for this. I'll guide you. All you need to do is follow my instructions carefully." Maya nodded eagerly. "I'm ready." "Good," he said. "We're going to Dubai next week. That's where your first deal will happen. After that, you'll be settled for life." Maya beamed. She had always dreamed of going there. The night before their flight, they were in Raymond's hotel room packing their luggage. Then he pulled out a small black bag and opened it. Inside were several bundles tightly wrapped in plastic. A white powdery substance was visible through the wrap. Maya's smile faded. "What's that?" Raymond's expression remained calm. "Don't worry about the details, baby. Just put a few of these in your makeup bag and carry it with you. Once we land in Dubai and deliver them, you'll get 100 million naira." Maya froze. Is that what I think it is?" "Shh," he said, placing a finger on her lips. "Don't ask too many questions. This is how big people make money. You trust me, right?" Maya was torn. Her instincts screamed no, but the thought of 100 million naira clouded her judgment. She pictured herself in a luxury apartment, owning a car, enrolling Ethan in the best schools, and finally living like the women she stalked on Instagram. "I trust you," she said quietly. They packed everything and got ready. The next morning, Maya wore her finest travel outfit and dropped Ethan at daycare earlier than usual. She kissed him on the forehead, promising to bring him gifts. When she returned to the airport, everything seemed smooth. Their tickets were first class. The attendants greeted them politely. Raymond handed over their bags to be checked in, but made sure Maya's name was written on all the tags. As they stood in line for final boarding, Maya turned to smile at Raymond, but he was no longer behind her. She looked around, confused. That was the moment 2 airport security officers walked up to her. "Miss, please step aside. We need to check your luggage," one of them said firmly. Maya's heart skipped. "Why? Is there a problem?" "Just routine checks," the officer replied. They led her into a small room. Another female officer joined them. Her bags were brought in. The officers cut them open and brought out the plastic-wrapped white powder. Maya gasped, "That's not mine. That's not mine." "Are you saying you didn't pack this luggage yourself?" one officer asked. "No, I mean, yes, I packed it, but—" She stuttered. "My boyfriend gave me the bags. He's supposed to be here." "Your boyfriend's name?" "Raymond Bill." "Name?" I don't know his full name, but he booked the flight. We were traveling together." The officers exchanged looks. "There's no Raymond on the passenger list traveling with you," one of them said. "These bags are all checked under your name. You have been found with illegal drugs and are under arrest." Maya's head spun. "No, he's using me. He told me it was safe. I didn't know." They didn't listen. She was handcuffed and detained. Hours later, a call was made to Brielle. She came rushing to the airport, thinking Maya was in trouble with immigration. But when she walked into the holding room and saw Maya in handcuffs with swollen red eyes, she stopped cold. "What happened?" Brielle asked the officer. "She was caught with illegal drugs. She claimed someone named Raymond gave her the bags." Brielle turned slowly to look at Maya. "You did this to yourself," she said coldly. "After everything we've been through, after I warned you, after I stood by you, you still went back to this life." Maya fell to her knees. Brielle, please, I didn't know, I swear. I thought he loved me. Please help me. Help me get a lawyer, please. I don't want to go to prison. Brielle shook her head. No, Maya, I can't help you anymore. I've done my part. You chose this path. I will not raise Ethan in the shadow of your mistakes. I will raise him with love and care. But you're on your own now. Brielle, please, Maya wailed, reaching out, but Brielle stepped back. I won't be visiting, not anymore, Brielle said and walked away. Maya broke down completely. Her cries echoed through the room as the officers led her away. The reality hit her like cold water. Raymond was a ghost. No full name, no real contact. The name, the love, the lifestyle, everything was a setup. He had used her as a mule, and now she would face the consequences alone. Her case moved quickly. Without evidence to trace Raymond, and with the drugs in her possession under her name, the court ruled against her. She was sentenced to several years in prison. From her cold prison cell, Maya thought of Ethan. His little fingers, his innocent laughter, and how he wouldn't even remember the last time she hugged him. Tears rolled down her cheeks as she whispered to herself, I was just trying to give him a better life. But now, the life she dreamt of was gone, and all she had left was regret.